Hello, and yeah, we can't swear. We got children watching these days. We don't really, but we might. Anyway, this is my Murica playthrough. I went for the achievement for Odin and first come, first serve. As you can see, I started off in Central America, in Mexico, and I quickly spread out, vassalizing and annexing everyone that was nearby, because I felt it was the highest kind of development in the area and easiest to expand through. After that, I started colonizing the eastern seaboard and parts of South America so I could start fighting the Inca civilizations, as well as grab all the good trade nodes in North America and compete with Castile and Portugal, who were showing up. I had a lot of early wars against Portugal, and I had France allied for most of the game, so they were able to help out a lot with that. And they also helped out in my wars against Castile and Great Britain, and that was good because Great Britain managed to get a PU over Castile, which made things extra difficult. But I managed to vassalize Scotland because Great Britain had pretty much thrown them out of England, which let me have extra set of colonists in Canada and so forth. So I took Scotland there, and they had one or two islands still left. They had the Orkney Islands, I think, in Great Britain. So I used them later on to expand eastward. But for the most part, I spent a lot of the early part of the game solidifying my grasp over the Americas. And I had to kick out basically the British, the Dutch, the Spanish, and very later on, the French. I used the French mostly as an ally for pretty much the whole game, right up until Great Britain was conquered by me. And the first war against Great Britain was really, really hard, because I didn't have enough military ideas. But eventually, I just beat them down with sheer numbers and economic strength. Then I moved over to Scandinavia, and started taking them out. I also had to do one or two wars against Russia and Finland, just to get all of the Scandinavia area. It's unfortunate that I had the same map color as Scandinavia because you couldn't see the expansion as well, but managed to get it done, took care of, and got everything converted within like the last year or 2 years of the game. So it was a close one, and many times I thought, not gonna get it done, But anyway, here's a zoomed out view of everything that happened. You can see I went basically north and south as quickly as I could. Pretty much from about 1460 onward. I was the American culture group, so that way I could take over the English and Scottish lands without much of an issue. I promoted Castilian and Portuguese culture, and then Dutch as well, because the Dutch were in Brazil. So I used those promoted culture groups to have, easy unrest problems, or no unrest problems in the Americas, and eventually, France as well, because I had to fight France for Canada. I also took over the Pacific Islands for the most part, because that's where Great Britain and Castile also liked to colonize. And you can see, there's the Scandinavia again. Very, very nice. Very, very blue. Very, very nice. And it was difficult, but rewarding, as always. Yes. A glorious Norse empire. There's some Catholics still up in Canada, but, we'll work on them eventually. No, we won't. The game ended. But as you can see... Alright. And this is how I started off. Obviously, it's custom nation achievements. This is the colors and flag that I used. And I also went with Murica as my name because it's Murica. We're going to make Murica Murican again. And make Odin great again. I started off with these stats for my king and queen, or I guess waifu, and my heir. And I disinherited my heir pretty much as quickly as I could. Because anything's better than 000. And this is the government groups I used. I also was only 4 territories because for the 4 Odin achievement you can only have 5 or fewer. And with the the national traditions that I chose here, 4 was kind of the best use of points while also keeping a good starting monarch. I've tried this with Republican before, and it never really worked out. I was always too far behind on points. But, you know, I eventually kind of fine-tuned it, and at the end, I pretty much just went for all of the ideas that gave me discounts, and then some military ideas as well, just so I can compete with the Western powers that get a lot of really good military ideas, since I was planning on, you know, taking over the Sweden Space Marines and the British Army as well. So you can pretty much sub those out with any of the national ideas that you prefer most for Monarch point discounts, but I would strongly recommend stacking up as many Monarch point discounts as you can. And lastly, this is the final page. These are my ideas that I chose. I did choose expansion to start with, but I subbed it out at the end so I can get some more missionary strength to finish up my conversions. But that'll go ahead and do it. Enjoy the video? Well, hey, you should consider subscribing, or maybe checking out some of these other videos. Or, hey, why don't you leave a like? It'll help the channel grow. Or you can leave me a comment, maybe give me an idea for another video. Anyway, I'll see you next time.